Hello and welcome back to season 2 of Straight from the Heart. We are so excited. As you can see, we've done some new things. We're in a new studio. We are ready for some new conversation. And today, Happy New Year. Let me start with that. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
It is 2026. There's a lot that's about to happen in 2026. We have World Cup. We've got all kinds of things that are happening politically. And so today, back in the studio with me is the MAGA, the number one stunner, the host that's the most, Khalil. And Khalil, I am so glad you are back in. I am so happy to see you.
Yeah.
And I know that what we're going to talk about today is fire. we may be in trouble, but it's okay. We look for trouble, good trouble, right?
Yeah.
So, with all this stuff that we could talk about, and we've got a lot of stuff. I feel like, one of those nighttime talk show hosts that have all the fodder that they could use. Well, we got plenty.
Yeah.
But I think number one and at the top of the list is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Very interesting.
The great conversion. The great converter.
The great converter. Yes. Converted. The great converted.
Yeah.
Because she's converted.
Mm-hmm.
With all the stuff that went on during the election and during the campaign and how Marjorie was so adamant and such a strong, starch supporter of all of the agenda that the president has and had, she was very, very, very rude, very, very, just solid on her beliefs.
Yeah.
She didn't care about what anybody else thought. And she was for sure, Trump could do no wrong.
Right.
And then came Epstein.
Yeah.
And so the interesting thing was I was like totally shocked when she went on live and almost did a Liz Cheney. She didn't get close to Liz, but she did, she kind of stepped in Liz's water by defying the powers that be and demanding that the Epstein's files are released.
Yeah. And
she started calling out the administration and their lack thereof of supporting. Now, the interesting thing is she's right there. She was right. But I think the topic that we should talk about, and I'm going to get your take on this right now.
Okay.
How should we feel about her right now?
That's the question. And, how we should feel about her is interesting for a number of reasons, because what I think Marjorie represents is, and I hope I'm saying her name correctly, I think she represents the future of MAGA as far as not from a political standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from a social and a relationship standpoint.
Okay.
All your friends and your family and all these people who are hardcore into these things, this is going to be their redemption path.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so how do we feel about, how should we feel about Marjorie at a greater scale is how should we feel about anybody who was involved in peddling misinformation?
Yes.
And, accepted flat out lies.
Told flat out lies.
Told flat out lies.
Yes.
People who completely turn their backs on science and data, and all these things that allowed us as Americans to have constructive conversations.
Right.
Because in order for us to have a conversation, we have to agree on reality.
Yes.
And if we don't have an agreement on reality, then it's impossible for us to have a conversation. You see what I'm saying? And so now that she has built this alternate reality that all these people have bought into and have used this position of this alternate reality as their shield.
Right.
And even to an extent, their identity. now she's trying to dip back out of it. Like, you know, I don't even know if she's on some stuff like a line was crossed or whatever like that. I think she's very skilled at understanding, you know, how to move because she's seeing, you know, the future.
Mm-hmm.
She's seeing how she's going to have to play socially and things like that. I don't know what her political aspirations are. But I can definitely see that she's trying to reposition herself socially.
Right.
And so I think that there's a lot of MAGA folks who are going to be doing that same kind of dance. You know what I mean? And
because it is interesting. The interesting thing is, so I recall several hearings that she was in committee meetings, and she and Jasmine Crockett had some very
JC,
my girl, had some very interesting conversations. And I say, and I thought about, you know, all of the things that she stood on. Like she stood on the January 6th insurgent being a peaceful, you know, and that the election was stolen.
Yep.
And
Jewish space lasers.
That too.
Yeah.
I mean, all these foolish things. Again, speaking as though she was a very intelligent woman who had very strong insight and knew exactly what she was talking about. And it wasn't until there were victims who were white women. So let's make that clear.
Yeah.
Who were white women who were victimized to a point that I couldn't even fathom. And when you think about the cover up that is being done over the Epstein file, I think my biggest problem is, yes, I appreciate you standing up. Because yes, although this happened to a plethora of white women, I'm sure there were some other races of women involved, but this seemed to be more geared to young teenage white girls who are now women. It almost seemed, one, you have been a victim yourself because you were very adamant, because everything else that has been untrue, that has been totally out there with this administration, you backed. Even as far as just the night before last, you were on air with, I want to say, Aaron Burnett on CNN in an interview, and you still say, even though you've been threatened, called a traitor, and all these other things, you still stand on Donald Trump's agenda and believe he's done a great job.
Yeah. She says she voted for him 98% of the time.
98% of the time, and would do it again. But the Epstein files and then the way he turned on her has made her step away.
Yeah. Yeah. And in her particular case, in my opinion, I would say that there is no forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, there's a saying, it says something along the lines of, I think it goes like, when someone treats you bad, believe them, or something like that.
Well, when somebody shows you,
shows you who they are.
So yeah, that was a Maya Angelou quote.
Yeah.
When someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Right.
And
so, you know, the thing about her turn, so to speak, is that what she's not addressing are the people who've been injured as a result of the house she built.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Including these victims of Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
Because rather she wants to act like she's been one of the primary forces pushing to et cetera, et cetera. The fact still remains, as she says, that she's maintained a 98% loyalty rate to a man who is now actively engaging and blocking and covering and doing some very weird things for people who seem to be involved with Jeffrey Epstein. So the ability of the administration to do those things came from her 98% support.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, you're saying something now, but what she's not acknowledging is her work in allowing what is happening today to occur. And she's also not addressing the people that have been injured as a result of her behavior.
Absolutely.
Over these years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I find it even more so insulting when we have the expectation after we've done damage that we are supposed to be easily forgiven, and people are supposed to be empathetic to your situation when you had no empathy for anybody outside of that circle that you were in. I mean, almost basically, and just even the basic needs. I think about the basic needs of the people when they first went into office, and all the layoffs and firings that were done, even the appointments that were put in place that they allowed to happen. So, I mean, when I start thinking about it again, how blatantly, she did not care. She did not care to even hear reasoning or no hearing at all. I've watched a lot of hearings that she was in, and it was almost like she had a deaf ear. She walked in the door with her understanding, her belief, and her judgment in hand, and nothing else made any difference. And the number of people, not just on a high level, but I mean, everybody in between, anybody that was a part of the Biden administration, the damage and the rhetoric that was out there about the Obama administration, anything about, you allowed them to dismantle the Department of Education without a sound, without a peep.
Yep.
You have allowed the breakdown of the Constitution without a peep. And so again, I go back to, I understand when you have something personal that affects you, because for me, I don't think it was even about the women, the victims. I think it was personal. I think that she could relate to something traumatic, which I don't champion anything happening to her like that. I understand that, been there. So I understand that kind of pain and that kind of frustration and shame. But again, it wasn't until it became personal to you that you could see other people. And again, to your point, I don't know if she even sees the other victims. I think it's...
Yeah. I mean...
Because you knew Trump before you got in there. There's nothing in the Epstein file that you don't already know about him. The man said in his first candidacy how he victimized women.
Yeah.
He said it out of his own mouth.
Yep.
He was a womanizer. He has, 4 kids, 5 kids, and 3 baby mamas,
Yeah, a couple of them dead.
Yeah.
Buried on the property.
Right. Yeah. So come on, let's really think about, who that person was before you got there.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, he's convicted of sexual assault.
Yeah.
So, you're standing for sexual assault victims, but you got 98% support
for a sexual predator, offender. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is where it starts to get murky. And this is where my opinion comes from, where I said her flop isn't a flop that I'm interested in listening to or honoring in any degree.
Yeah.
If she really wants to seek some kind of redemption for her part that she claims that she took, because she, on some news segments, I've seen her like apologize for her part and so on and so forth.
I've never seen that one, but yeah, love to see it.
Well, if she wanted to do something to apologize for her part and what she has done politically that has created this social environment that we live in, then she should refuse her pension.
Wow.
Yeah. Refuse your congressional pension, Marjorie. You can keep the money that you got from insider trading, that 20 million or so. Keep that. But the little pension that's going to be our tax dollars for what you did that you're supposedly sorry of, go ahead and just leave that and then take your insider trading money and vamoose.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's deep. But hey, I totally agree with that one. Hello. You wait a minute, that's a mic drop. Mic drop. But we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, that ain't gonna happen.
That's not going to happen.
She like money, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, so she was on, Aaron Burnett, CNN the other night before last. And normally I don't, once I start hearing her talk, it's like, either turn it off or tune it out.
Mm-hmm.
But this particular evening, I knew we were going to be talking about her on the show. And I really wanted to get some more insight and some more, because as
some understanding, you want to understand.
Well, and then as a person that I hope that I show empathy for others, even for her, I really wanted to have some genuine empathy. And it's really hard when the same person that can spew venom and with a straight face and be so detrimental to then turn on a dime. Yeah. And it honestly would not have turned on the dime had not the president started calling her a traitor and cutting her out of the circle.
And didn't support her Senate run.
Did not give her a cabinet appointment because she was expecting a cabinet appointment. Until he turned on a dime on her, because she had been talking about the Epstein file, but as long as she could talk about him and he didn't jump down her throat, then it was okay.
Yeah.
And because she started calling out, not him specifically, because according to the White House and all the people that have supposedly been able to go through the Epstein file, there's nothing in there to implicate Donald Trump.
Right.
For doing any wrong or crossing any lines. Yeah. So if that's the case, her calling out saying, release the files, I don't care whose name is in it. I don't care if it's Bill Clinton. And I'm like, to that point, I don't care if it's Bill Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't care if it was Barack Obama.
Get him too.
I don't care who it is. If you have been a child predator and you have broken the law, you have destroyed lives, you have done things to young girls that are unimaginable, you should be called out. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, you have no right to rule over people.
That's right.
Who you have preyed upon.
That's right.
Just from a fundamental standpoint.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I to that point, it wasn't until it struck a nerve on his front, because they're just alike.
Oh yeah.
They're just alike. Until it becomes personal, a personal affront to him, he doesn't respond.
Yeah.
He don't care. But if you step on, and he has very tender feelings. If you step on his feelings, or you say something that says that he is less than, or that he is not as pure as he tries to be, then he lashes out. And I think, again, it goes back when I first heard her really stand on it even after they told her several times to stand down, to let it go, to, get with the party, she stood on it. I knew then that it was personal. For me, I would have more empathy for her if she was honest about why.
Oh, yeah.
What is your why that this is so important to you?
Yeah.
Because, yes, it's important to the everyday person, but until it's something like this happens to you, you don't really get that involved in it.
Right.
Most women who have been through it, we have a tendency to really want to see this done. I don't have any room for sympathy when it comes to this. No room.
Yeah, and I agree. In essence, she is a disgruntled employee.
In essence.
Yeah. Yes. And, in any court, disgruntled employees are not credible.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is true. This is true. So, the question was asked on CNN if she has any political desires. Is she putting herself in place to run for the presidency? And, would she, is this something that she's interested in? And, of course, her answer was absolutely not. I have no desire to run for any political office at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And so to your point, if she can gain like the sympathy bandwagon, the people that look at, she stood up, she is, the new MAGA.
Mm-hmm. Sensible MAGA.
The sensible MAGA.
the SM.
and she is, still based on that Make America Great, meaning that there is a pure blood that should be running the world. And if she felt like that she could drag that base over to her side, yeah, she would run.
Yeah, but she's going to have a fundamental issue, right? And it's the same issue that a Vivek Ramaswamy has. I don't know if you've been following what's been going on here, but Vivek he's learning the hard way, and he's very reluctant to just face the music on this, but he's learning that the core foundation, and whatever the percentage is, whether it's the minority of them, whether it's the whatever percentage of this group of people that it is, there is a core of that community that are racist,
mm-hmm.
and they're bigoted,
mm-hmm.
and they're sexist, and they're et cetera, et cetera. They're white nationalists, white supremacists, and you can look it up, whatever we need to do, but it's a fact.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
It is a fact that the white supremacists and white nationalists in this country are happy with what this administration is doing.
Yeah.
And the problem that Vivek is running into, and you know who else is running into this same problem? J.D. Vance.
I'm hearing that.
Yeah. Nick Fuentes,
mm-hmm.
right? Who, by the way, is a Latino, Hispanic, Italian, right? Talking about pure-blooded white people, which he's not.
Sure.
Yeah. He is, he's putting up pictures of Gavin Newsom and Gavin Newsom's family, and then putting up a picture of J.D. Vance and J.D. Vance's family, and saying, like, Republicans expect him to believe that Gavin Newsom is some kind of like devil or something, but look at these quote unquote good genes. Look at this white wife that Gavin Newsom has.
Wow.
Look at these blonde hair, blue eyed children that Newsom has. And then he's putting up a picture of J.D. Vance with his brown wife and their brown children. Yeah. And a picture that they took at the Taj Mahal.
Wow. Okay.
Which just looks like a mosque.
Right.
And you know how they don't like Muslims.
Right.
But Gavin Newsom was in California somewhere or Hawaii, and then Nick Fuentes' words in one of our beautiful states, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So at the core, Vivek, JD, and Marjorie, right? Because she's a woman.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, she might as well know, even in her circle, you will never make it.
Exactly.
Because they have no respect for women. And you can, they had women on the lines with them, hollering, kill them and let the dogs loose and hollering the N word and then go home and beat them.
Yeah,
they go home and beat the wife. The same woman that was on the, And
politically, they are socially, politically, they're pushing, the trad wife. They want the traditional wife.
Yeah.
They're telling women, stop working,
have babies,
stop getting that $20 million off of that insider trading.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And go get in there and wash the dishes.
Make me some babies.
Yeah.
Make me some babies. Just make me some babies.
Right.
Barefoot and pregnant. And bring my beer.
Exactly. So Marjorie isn't going to be able to navigate that core community within her own base.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
that's right.
You built it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's right. And that's the crazy thing. When we talk about what this administration is doing and who it's going to affect. And on the surface, we see, the ISIS raids and we see, the same system that we've been under since we got here. But the people that it's going to affect the most are the MAGA people.
Yeah.
They are the ones, you are poor white people.
Yeah.
Who don't fit in the rich billionaire club. What we're going to do for you is we're going to put you back in those factories. We're going to put you back down in the coal mines because we need you down there getting that coal for us. We're going to open back up these manufacturers and having you work those jobs that's going to kill you. And you're not going to make a whole lot of money. You're going to live in these little towns.
Yeah.
And you're going to drink your beer. You're going to have a bunch of babies and you're going to beat your wife like you used to do. The good old days.
Hey, make it great again, baby.
So I guess, and I think about, not trying to get totally off the Marjorie Taylor Greene because for real, there's not much more that you could say about her for real. I think about just what it's going to mean for white women.
Yeah.
Because again, white women have been for the longest, that next level, that next tier. Yeah. They started taking over the CEO jobs for the corporations. They started creating, women's movements and organizations for women. And they were in leadership and starting in the church house, which is very interesting. Starting in the church house, the Catholic Church has never allowed women in leadership. So, I mean, the closest you would get is the Reverend Mother. And she was right under a priest or right around in that same area. But she was not the priest. She did not have the authority. She could not grant blessings or all the things that a priest does.
That's a great point. And I always bring it up to people when they want to give me the religious conversation about, Islam bad, Islam oppressive on women, isn't it? Holler at me when we got a woman pope.
Holler at me when we got a woman priest, which she can lead. Seriously, holler at me then. Yeah. And the thing is when we start thinking about what has the the traditional Baptist church done. Last year, the first thing they did was they took their women out of leadership. And now they can't lead anything. They can't lead youth ministries. They can't lead choirs. They can't lead usher boards. They can't be a ministry or a ministry lead or director. And it starts the breakdown of equality and equity in America.
Yeah. And I think that's why this idea of separation of church and state is, in my opinion, the best singular idea that came out of this experiment that we call the United States. Because, if we want to look at individual freedom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then individual freedom starts with someone's ability to be able to live their own life within their home or within their community, and not be forced to live some kind of way by a government authority or theocracy or something like that.
Right.
Whenever religion becomes part of the state, you lose all of that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because the people who are pushing like this Christian nationalism thing, the only reason they're okay with it is because it jives with their own personal beliefs and their own morals and everything. So if the country was shaped in their everyday activity,
right,
they would love that. You
right.
know, the way they talk, the way they go to church, the way they go to the grocery store, where they live at, and this and that. If the country supported that, they would love it. And so they're okay with pushing that agenda even at the destruction of other people who live in different ways in the country.
Right, right.
And what they are failing to remember is that is a denunciation of freedom.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Freedom means everybody gets to do their thing.
Yes.
Not just me, and everybody needs to do the way I do it.
Right.
And so if you actually love freedom, then you would love, as a matter of fact, here's for these Christians out here, you would rejoice, right?
Right.
When you came across people who were living differently than you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So,
well, and that's if you understood your book that you read and all that, but that's a whole nother, we're going to have a segment on that. That is interesting that you should say that, because I was also looking, I'm watching a lot in the news because I'm trying to keep up. And one of the things was the mayor of, was it Michigan? In Michigan, where the big population of Somalians are.
Oh, Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of the towns that has the largest population, I think they got something like 80,000 Somalians in there. And he was like, we're standing with our Somalian community. And he started speaking the Somalian language.
Wow.
He spoke it to them at this press conference.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had of course, a Republican. I don't remember if it was congressman or senator because I was cooking and trying to hear it, but they latched onto it and, was talking about, if they were Americans, why did you have to speak the Somalian language? They're American. That just goes to show they don't have any business over here. And it totally reminded me of, hearing like racists telling Africans and Hispanic people, go back to your country. You don't even speak the language. If you can't speak. I was in a train station when some racist people made a comment to a Hispanic family.
Wow.
About speaking Spanish. You speak English, you're in America. And it's like, okay, this is like a little too far.
Yeah.
But again, back to the freedom piece. Mm-hmm. There's no freedom.
Right. That's a denunciation of freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not my job from a religious perspective or a social perspective or political perspective to judge, condemn, confine,
that's right,
berate, whatever, someone else.
That's right.
It's a law enforcement's job to do that. It's a court's job to do that. Yeah. It's God's job to do that.
Absolutely.
It's all these other entities' jobs
to do that,
to do all of that.
Yeah.
It ain't my job to do that. If somebody is attacking me, it's my job to defend my home, my space, my family, the people I love, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But it ain't my job to try to ridicule and persecute and alter somebody else's behavior, livelihood, et cetera, especially when it isn't something that is, bringing direct harm onto me.
So let me ask you this, because now, so we've said a lot of things, we talked about a lot of stuff, but the thing that's interesting to me is that when we think about the American people,
yes,
and particularly our community, why is this important to us? Why should we care?
Well, I've been having this conversation a lot with Black folks because, in particular, so there's a group of Black men who I talk to. We talk about politics, we talk about social issues and things like that. And they kind of have this idea that when you are engaging in something that is quote unquote pro-black, well then that's something that's separate from America. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We have this ideal that if we even take interest in our own culture, we are anti-American.
Right.
It becomes, but again, this is where I have, and you and I've talked about this before. I always make it clear that I'm an American. I love being an American.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't take the American out of me. I love this country.
Yeah.
I will stand on it and fight for this country.
Yeah, I'm a veteran.
But I'm black. Yeah. And I'm happy to be black. And I shouldn't be ashamed, or it shouldn't be an issue if I wanted to address my blackness.
Yeah.
It's not an issue for any other culture. Well, it is, but anytime you address your culture outside of America, mm-hmm. or the American apple pie, let's say that, because the cultural issues of America is not just the white.
No.
But we, as black people, have allowed it to separate us.
Yeah.
We allow ourselves to be separated by, I'm African American. No, you're not. Yeah. You are an American. This is your origin. This is where you were born.
Yes.
And then I hear this a lot. And this was brought to my attention. I don't remember who brought it to my attention. But I think about my grandfather was a farmer. Mm-hmm. And when we all lived in the city, his backyard, wherever we lived, was always a garden. Mm-hmm. And then my grandmother, he always planted beautiful flowers in the front of the house. My grandmother always had trellises of flowers and things like that. And then the whole backyard was a garden with everything. The one thing that I can say is, the first thing that we say is we have no roots. Mm-hmm. African Americans, or that's what they call themselves, black people in America that were born in America have no roots. You do have roots.
Yeah.
America is your roots.
Yeah.
This is where we were planted, and this is where we grew. There are people in Africa that did not start in the country that they ended up in.
Right.
They are African because they're on the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
And they claim their African origin.
Right.
We need to learn how to claim our American origin and not be ashamed of being American. Once we do that, then we can understand how to include ourselves. I don't need you to include me.
Right.
I'm going to include you. If I want to be included, I'm going to include you in my circle.
Right.
Because I'm proud of who I am and I know what I can bring to my circle. Mm-hmm. So when I think about why is this important to us? It's important to us because just like Marjorie Taylor Greene had the confidence in who she is and what she believed as an American, she stood on it. Mm-hmm. And I can't be mad at her for standing on it. Now, I can say it's stupid. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
But her confidence in her belief, once we can start standing on our confidence in our belief and stop worrying about how they feel about us, mm-hmm. or what they think about us,
yeah.
and start standing on, I'm an American. I can now. Racism is alive and kicking.
Oh yeah.
But it's alive and kicking because we've separated ourselves, and then within our own community, our own culture, we've siloed ourselves.
Yeah. And that's, and all of those are reasons why I would say these conversations matter, because we are Americans.
Yeah.
And we're talking about America.
Yeah.
So, my dad used to say, he'd be talking about something and somebody would be like, well, what about this? As if us addressing this particular topic is us denying these other things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he used to respond by saying, if I was a fish, I would talk about being a fish in water. You know what I mean?
Right.
There are birds out there. There's trees on land. There's people flying planes overhead. There's stuff floating around outer space. But I'm a fish in the water. So, I'm talking about fish in water.
Right.
But it's not me, denying the importance or the fact that these other things exist.
Right.
But I am very much so in agreement that Black people should really consider how they look at, addressing their own community and believing or having a feeling that by doing that is something outside of the American conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not a Black thing.
No, it's an American thing. It's an American thing.
Yeah.
And it truly is. And that's where I say we put ourselves outside of the American opportunities or even issues.
Yeah.
Because the Black community, it almost seems like it's not an American issue. It's a Black issue.
Mm-hmm.
And you're dealing with Black issues. When I've had people send me messages on Facebook or send me an email and say, do I have to be Black to be in the Black chamber?
Yeah.
No. But
I'm not saying, I was saying like,
no, I know what you're saying. You understand what I'm saying. No, you don't have to be Black.
Right.
But know this, my focus is on trying to figure out how do I bring this community into the American platform.
Yeah.
So it becomes an American issue and not a minority issue or a Black issue.
Right.
This is a human rights issue. This is a issue that is affecting American people. And we have allowed not just them, but ourselves to say an American issue for people of color.
Exactly. And, and the justification for that is the data.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
The data, the scientific research supports that. Let's just talk about the last 100 years. Black Americans reside in the bottom brackets of every socioeconomic category in human existence in this country.
Yes.
And have been that way consistently.
Yes.
So, we talked about the analogy of the house with the lights. You gotta, when there's a light bulb go out in your house, what do? You change the bulb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you want to be able to turn the lights on and use this property the way it could be used. It's a home.
Right. Right.
When a light go out, you don't shut the door and be like,
we ain't gonna use it. We ain't using that room no more.
Yeah.
That's a done deal.
It's too much violence in that room.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And then you don't utilize the space. That's a resource.
Yeah.
That's part of this home.
Yeah.
That's not being occupied.
Yeah.
So in order to have full access, full use, and full enjoyment of your home, you ensure that your home is fully operational. And the Black community is part of the home. We're a room in the house of America. And we got a light bulb out.
Yeah.
So change the fucking light bulb.
Uh-oh. We're going to change the bulb. So I'm wondering, am I getting close to the end of this segment? I think that, we've touched on a lot of things, and we got another session that we're going to be touching bases on real soon here.
Yep.
I think our next segment should touch on, how about we talk about Venezuela?
Oh, yeah. The great topic of the day.
The great topic of the day. So I want to thank everybody for listening. I do want to say this. When we talk about situations that deal with government and even getting to know who your politicians are and what they're talking about and what their character is and how they respond or react to the needs of the people in America. That is important. And as a community, it is incumbent upon us to learn and to listen and to not blow it off like it's nothing. We are in a situation today that in my lifetime, I'd never seen. And because most people, young people today, you've never seen anything different. But being on the tail end of the civil rights movement and some of the things that went down, I never experienced the things that my mother and my grandmother and my great grandmother experienced, but you've never experienced the things that we've experienced or I've experienced. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this: take the time, listen, learn, and then be happy to be an American and speak up. Thanks again for watching us. We are excited to have you. And hey, look for another episode, season 2 of Straight from the Heart. Thank you.